Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about this right here. This is the Unigear electronic hand or body warmer. This is what I think is probably the best of the electronic hand warmers on the market right now in the 10,000 milliwatt hour range. Very impressed with this. I'm going to talk about why I think this is superior to all the other ones in just a second. First, I'll show you some of the specs. So first of all, I should start off by telling you it does come in a little bag. I actually do use this little bag for various reasons. If I don't want it to have direct contact with whatever I'm warming, whether that be skin or if I want it to warm up an electronic device in my pocket, I like to carry this around. It does come with the charging cord as well, so everything I need is included in there. A couple of the features. First of all, it's got like this gummy texture to it in a good way. It's a gummy texture. It's not something that's going to melt. I'm 100% sure it's not going to at this point. It has a nice hard rubber outer piece here, but it's easy to hold onto and you're not going to drop it. I don't think it's going to slip out of your hands. On the side, this is an important part right here. You have your controls for temperature, comfort, and settings. On the other side, that's your on and off switch right there. Very happy to see that. It is pretty much flush, which is a good thing. It doesn't stick out. It's not just a button that you would press that could accidentally be depressed very easily in a pocket. Ask me how I know with some other types that I've used. I've wasted an entire heat source by accidentally having something on during travel time with the button kind. This one is not the button kind. This one, you actually have to activate it intentionally, and I think it's a really good design feature. It's a good choice. Then you're going to have a USB-C, which is great because that's a lot of the devices I use. I prefer that. If I need to charge something, USB-C to USB-C. And then you have your regular thumb drive type port right there, and an LED screen. And it's not on right now because I want to show you something. Something super cool about this is it will tell you what the temperature rating actually is at. And the LED screen can talk to you a little bit and give you information where the other ones on the market don't. They just kind of suddenly die, or you very quickly become aware that the temperature is not what it's supposed to be. This one gives you information. Really happy with that. Again, this is 10,000 milliwatt hours, and it is advertised as, let's see, with an input-output of 5 volts, 3 amps, or 9 volts, 2 amps. And so that's some of the information. The model is the HW02. If you're going to go buy it on Amazon right now and you've already seen enough, Amazon is where you're going to find these. HW02 is the model. It's Unigear. Here's what we're going to do, guys. I'm going to turn it on and it's going to show you the temperature actively climbing. It's going to show you how fast, how rapidly this can get to a comfortable temperature. I think I had it set at like 113 most previously. Let's see how long it takes to get there. So on, and maybe I'll bring it in a little bit. So I've had it on for about 20 seconds and I can definitely feel that heat coming through. And I mean quite a bit. It's pretty warm at this point. Not air temperature. It honestly feels hotter than 82 degrees in my hand. But we'll keep watching it here. So I should probably mention it is 14 degrees Fahrenheit outside right now. I've only been holding on to it for about a minute and it's up to 104 degrees and I can definitely tell that's warm. It's not too hot to hold in my opinion, but that is really warm. It definitely would warm up a pocket really nicely. And if I wanted to bump up the temperature a little bit, if you can see the control setting here, up and down, so I can set it to 107 and up to 131. That's where it's going to max out, guys, as it should. You don't want to melt the internal components. And now it's showing you back down to what it's actively at right now, 104 degrees. And I rarely run it very high. Typically, I'm going to run it right about there. And that's comfortable for me for a pocket or in my hands, on the skin a little bit if it's real cold out. Keeps my electronics warm if I keep it in the same pocket along with the bag that it comes with. Pretty fast though. I'm really impressed that in 14 degree Fahrenheit temperatures like this device, first of all, it was cold. It was 14 degrees itself and it warmed up to this temperature relatively fast, I would say. So I just want to interject this really quickly because I know somebody out there is going to pull out their little hot hands hand warmer, and these aren't the worst. They have like a niche purpose And I think it's kind of old school at this point. I think we've moved beyond these. I think there's advantages of this over this. For example, I can set the temperature setting to what I want. This doesn't need oxygen to activate necessarily. This definitely does. This you can actually snuff out. I've had a number of duds per package where they just didn't last long at all. This is advertising 18 hours of heat. That'd be really impressive if it lasted the full 18 hours, but it rarely does. And they do cool off relatively quickly. They reach their peak and then they just kind of slowly drain, and it's not the same, whereas this is really consistent, and I can see both the charge setting when I'm charging it, and I can also see the temperature setting. I can see where I'm at, and being able to have specific numbers on there. Plus, it's just easier to hold on to. It's more warm to hold on to. I feel like it gets hotter than the hot hands do at their peak. That's just maybe a little bit subjective, but I just wanted to throw that in there and interject that for those who think, well, the hot hands seems like a good deal. Honestly, the amount of money you're going to spend on hot hands in a single season, if you're an outdoorsy kind of person, the amount of money you're going to spend on that versus just recharging this, it's a no-brainer for me. This is more cost-effective, it works better, and it's utility-friendly. You can do a lot with this. It has a USB port, okay, and a USB Type-C, the Type-C port here. That's something that you're not going to get with your hot hands. And so I'm just going to tell you, for the money, I really can't see any advantage of a hot hands over one of these. So I'll speak to some of my personal experience with this so far. So far, the longest stretch that I've used it, right around 110 degrees or so, was 4 hours at the range one day. That's kind of what I need these for. I'll actually warm up the camera that I'm speaking to right now. I'll warm up the camera or my microphone in the same pocket with this, and then sometimes I'll double it up. I'm wearing some Unigear gloves, and in fact, I'm going to review these in just a few minutes, I think, to talk about these, because these two together, paired, are awesome. I'm going to tell you, though, that if you can only have one and price is your issue, you don't have that much to spend, these are probably price efficient for you, and they're versatile. That's why I like them, and why I wouldn't just do the gloves alone in my personal experience and the way that I use things. You know, I'm looking at temperatures this next week of 40 below zero with a wind chill. I definitely want both. I kind of need both. And things like this, like I said, it's versatile. I can throw it in my camera gear box. I can throw it along with my kids. They can have one in their pocket. These gloves are not the kid size. So this fills a niche for sure. It fills a void, and they're just super affordable. They double up in purposes. I can charge my phone off it, which I have. These have actually saved me some trouble before, because I was able to charge my phone or a light. I've actually been able to run a small light off of it that I have, just a little LED plug-in through the thumb drive there. Matches the wattage, voltage, whatever, amperage, and so I didn't damage anything. They are pretty resilient. I wouldn't recommend dropping them on the ground, but I did drop it a couple times on accident. In fact, one of them was on concrete. I think that would normally break them. I don't think they're that tough, but it didn't break. That's a surprise. So there is some rigidity to it. There is some structure there that can hold up a little bit, but don't do a destruction test on these guys. They're not meant for that. They're meant to warm up your hands. If you drop it in the snow or something like that, you pick it back up, it's probably going to be just fine. LED screen is still working great. Warms up pretty quick, I think. Definitely a nice feature to be able to select your temperature. So if I give this to my kids, and let's say 110 degrees is just too hot for them, which it probably is, 105 or 104 is going to be perfect, and I can hand select what is a safe or appropriate temperature. Additionally, it just gives you a wide range of how long are you going to use something and how much power do you need. And so if I run this right up to 131, I'm going to get less time out of it. And since I'm usually not outside for only an hour or something like that, usually it's going to be hours of recording, I like to be able to set it at a temperature that's going to be efficient to save the battery long enough, but also keep my stuff warm enough for me long enough. And I think that feature alone is just the coolest. It's a well-designed product. It has the end user in mind in actual cold climates. I think a lot of people maybe design things with an idea, but maybe they don't live in a cold climate. This was designed for people in a cold climate. And I'm just going to say the last feature that's a big deal to me is being able to turn it off and on, and that it's a switch, that there's a little grip there, but it doesn't protrude. It's not going to get accidentally activated. That's a really big deal to me. Like I said, I've accidentally just completely lost my heat source in the past, and had to have like a little fire off to the side to warm up my gear because I had a different brand, a different kind, and the button was very easy to press and depress, and it just lost all the heat source, which was disappointing to me. This one, being intentional and having all the options, I think it's really cool. It comes in lots of colors. You can check them out on Amazon right now, guys. Definitely gets my stamp of approval. In fact, I think I'm gonna get a couple more because I need them for next week.